Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We start with Shalom Aleichem, page 142. Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to be a little bit different tonight. We're going to set up the service tonight in a form of a small drash so we can set the scene of what we're going to do. The other day, I listened to a podcast, and many of our congregants sent me him. It's Dan Senor. He has a podcast called Call Me Back. It's been a favorite during October 7th, and he had a guest, Amit Siegel. Amit Siegel is one of the top journalists in the state of Israel. And he reported that last Friday, there was a huge silence in the state of Israel. So, and Dan also commented on this, that his sister lives in Jerusalem. So if you've ever been to Israel on a Friday, it's the hustle and bustle. It's loud. People are getting prepared for Shabbat. You see your butcher, you go to the florist, you go to your every store so you can present the Shabbos table. And every time you see your grocer, people ask how you're doing. But last Friday, nobody spoke. It's what everything that happened with the Bibas family and where we are in this past week. So the state of melancholy that ruptured the soul of Jewish life, b'miuchad, especially on Shabbos. But now we have what I consider a paradoxical problem which can be good. Because if you look at your pulpit folder, if you look at the cover where it lists our staff and board, you see their date. And what month, Hebrew month, are we welcoming? What do you see? And what are we supposed to do during Adar? We're supposed to rejoice. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to celebrate Judaism, all of its joys, the simchot. And according to true Jewish halakha, we're not even supposed to mourn on this happy month. I think it's easier said than done. But as our rabbis tell us, we still need to engage the world and to be with the living. And one of the most important ways to do Judaism is at the synagogue in Simcha. And momentarily, Finn will come up with his family, light the Shabbat candles, and do our bracha for the wine. But the synagogue has been instrumental of bringing us together. And so when we brought in Dr. Selig, Cantor Whitner's mentor, it's synagogue music that has shaped our identity. From composers all over the world, 300 years, give or take, together, it's this music that has been part of us, that has defined us. During our worst periods in time, from 1945 to our most triumphant moments in 1948, it's been music that has allowed us to be joyful. And so some of you are here for a simcha. Some of you are here to remember the passing of a loved one. But even in death, those who are alive, we have to live for them. And it is a perfect month to remember that those who try to stop us cannot take away our happiness. We get to live on with our own Judaism, as we always had. And Finn, that's our cue for you to come up with your family and light the Shabbat candles. Yeah, come on. You go over there first.
אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של
And for those who are able, we rise together for our Kiddush, top of page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. V'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tichila lemikrei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta Mikol Hamim B'Shabbat Kodshecha B'Ahava Uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
L'chaim.
Please be seated. We turn to page 127. At the bottom, we read together. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks, O blessing, O God. We turn to page 138, L'Chadodi.
ולי תהילה, לך תודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We rise together to greet Shabbat HaMelka.
אוי ושלום עטרת מלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלם, בואי חלם, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
The middle of page 140, what Tzaddik Katamar.
Thank you.
Sometimes we give them a break here or there. I thought that'd be delivered better. Okay. We turn to the bottom of page 145 together. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There's no place on earth without the presence, we say right here with our Chetzi Kaddish 144.
יתגלל ויתקדש מרבה בעלמא יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחי לכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולם מעלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל מחדה בשירתם תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן מעלמה נאמרו אמן.
We rise together, 146.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai. Yada dai dai dai, 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 yada dai dai dai. Barechu et Adonai.
The top of page 148.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach sha'arim uvidvuna meshane itim umachaliv et hazmanim umeseder et hakochavim v'mishmarateim barakir kertzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or umavir yom umevi layla umavdio ben yom uven layla Adonai Sevaot Shemo El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim.
Amen. Yasher koach.
150.
בשיח מחוקיך, ונשמח מדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם
We turn to our Shema 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shem kevod malchuto leolam
Little high holiday action right there. Behafta 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Yasher Koach.
We're going to read together the bottom of page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages, your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Our song of Cherut to freedom, our Michamocha, on the next page.
Mi chamocha ba'elim
the bottom page, 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Our Hashkivenu is right here, 160.
Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael me'al Yerushalayim.
The top of page 163 together. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Bishamru 162.
V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'torot ha'merit olam. Beini u'bein bnei Yisrael oti le'olam le'olam ki sheishat yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz u'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat ma'in afash.
Middle of page 165. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. For those who are able, we rise together for tefillah, top of page 166.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך פעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We continue the top of page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat We continue with our would say on the next page.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel u'tehil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael. Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Kore'av Enei Elavadecha Mechoneinu Shevo ותחזינה עינינו ושובך לציון. Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shechinato Let's see.
179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. Make a temperate reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Yatahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Betov beinecha levarei בכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום. We take a few moments for private prayer.
At this moment of service, we think of those in our community, those especially who are in need of healing of body or spirit. We especially think of Jeremy Applebaum, Sophia Barry, Faye Denny, Jerry Fields, Marilyn Leeds, Tim Madden, Richard Magnati, Michal Mijeritz, Paul Musteller, Stephen Muss, Ron Ostreicher, Malka Bat Rachel, Bob Brunau, Jerry Sklar, Alan Unger, and Brenda Weinstein. For those who are with us tonight, if you're thinking of a loved one or friend, someone who means so much to you, and you wish to share their name out loud, we invite you either by rising or as my eyes meet yours. For those names mentioned out loud and for those names that are still in our hearts, and Misha Berach, our prayer for healing, middle of page 371.
Mishem Berach Avoteinu Abraham, Yitzchak veYaakov. Mishem berach imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah veRachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Before our guest, Dr. Ralph Seelig, speaks, we're going to do one song leading us into that.
And then we'll hear some words of wisdom.
Netzachim ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nakdish letor vador letor vador letor vador nagid godlecha ulenetzach netzachim Netzach netzachim kedushatcha nakdish v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipchinu lo yamush leolam ba'ed ki el melech gadol ki el melech gadol Kadoshata letor vador letor vador letor vador nagid godlecha ulenetzach netzachim ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nakdish Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos.
For those who've never met me, let me just very quickly introduce myself. I'm Dr. Ralph Seelig. I am professor of math and computer science at Fairleigh Dickinson University, and I'm also visiting professor of Jewish liturgical music at the Abraham Geiger College in Berlin, where I train rabbis and cantors. And the reason we did Ledor Vador is because, as I always preach to you, we are a congregation of many generations. But I have to look at the bar mitzvah boy because I have to share something with you. I know this cantor from Hebrew Tabernacle, and I was the music director there for many years. I played the organ, I directed the choir, and I remember very clearly a few years ago when I did a special service on the Erev, the night of a bar mitzvah. We had a Russian cantor who wanted to hear and do the music of Abraham Dunayevsky. Now, who's Dunayevsky? He wrote Ahav Rachamim. When you take the Torahs out, after Ein Kamocha, that's the next piece that he composed. And what was so nice about it was very scholarly, it was very well presented, we had a choir, but everything was in E minor. Can you imagine a whole service in minor mode? And at the end, the rabbi came up to me. It's one of the few things I remember that a rabbi ever told me. And he said to me, you know, Ralph, this was a very, very good job. But next time, we start off with the Lewandowski Matovu, and don't you ever forget it. So when a rabbi told me never to forget it, you can imagine how many things I remember, because I remembered that very clearly. And why did he say that to me? Because that was the tradition of the congregation, the minchag. Minchag, of course, is a tradition. And tonight, what we wanted to do was we wanted to do two things. We made a handout in front of you, if you got it at the door, of the composers who we highlighted. And we also made a display here. because unbeknown to a lot of people here, this synagogue has a very rich music library. And the idea is to preserve a tradition, okay? No matter how old you want to try and influence your tradition. And if we look at the sheet in front of you, I hope everybody has it very quickly. This is like a handout, this is no quiz. You will see that the composers we did came throughout the world. And they all have significant meaning. For example, if we take a look at Goldfarb, Shalom Aleichem, that's a very popular piece. And interestingly enough, that's done like Debbie Friedman's Havdalah throughout the movements. What do I mean by movements? It could be in the Reform, it could be in the Conservative, it could be in an Orthodox style. And Goldfarb, of course, came from Poland. And if you look at some of these composers where they came from, even though we tried to do a cross-section of the population, you will see how the music has been influenced throughout the world, okay? If we look at Noah Aronson, for example, well, he was here a few weeks ago bringing a different style of worship. If you look at Mandel, Mandel was also very important. He was a musicologist, okay? Now, why are musicologists so important? Because you have three types of people in this business. What do I mean by that? You have a cantor, you have a composer, and you have a musicologist, so somebody who tries to preserve a tradition. And sometimes cantors are a cross-section. They'll compose music or they will write. And we have some books over here from scholars. For example, if you look at Binder, Abraham Wolf Binder played a very important role. Other than his Hashkivenu, we do his candle blessing. Baruch atah Adonai. And he really reintroduced the trope for using of the Torah back in around 1904. So he played certainly a very, very important role. Eric Werner, who we attributed the Vishamru, was also a very popular musicologist. Mandel, his music, which was brought over from Germany, you can see in Gratz College, which was transferred over to the University of Pennsylvania. So you really get an idea of where this music has come from. Now, I was told to keep my remarks very brief, but again, I do want to recapitulate a few things, okay? One never knows what life brings, okay? Will we become a musician? Will we become a scholar? What will our professions be? But one thing we know is that it's important to preserve a tradition, okay, in many, many ways. And tonight, we really did, as I said, a cross-section of the population. I do want to say two other very quick things. Remember, I told you that I was a professor of mathematics, and there's a little saying that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. But remember that a smile is the shortest distance between two people. Now everybody's smiling in here. So hopefully we will take a moment at the end to take a look at the display, because this all comes, believe it or not, from your synagogue. Your synagogue has a very rich tradition of music, and it's our job as Jews to preserve it, to bring it to the next generation. And that's why we did L'Dor Vador. But the next piece of music we're going to do, because music really has to speak, and we are very concerned with what's going on in Israel, so we decided to do the 122nd Psalm, Samachti Umrim Li, by Charles Osborne. Charles Osborne was born in 1951. He was the cantor until recently in Toronto, and he wrote a very, very beautiful choir setting. So I'd like to read you the text, because it has really profound meaning for all of us this week. It's short. I rejoice when they said to me, "Let us go up to the house of God." Now we stand within your gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem built to be a city where people come together as one. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. For the sake of my people, my friends, I pray you find peace. For the sake of the house of Adonai, our God, I will seek your good. Remember, Jerusalem built to be the city where people come together as one. That is the notion also of our synagogue, that we all come together as one. Shabbat Shalom. If you know the next piece, you can, by all means, sing along. This is Samachti Li'omrim by Charles Osborne.
We rise together, Aleinu 586.
עלינו לשמח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, מגורלנו ככל המונם. מה אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. On this Shabbat, we recall the yortzites of Harry Herbert R. Bernstein, Sam Blitz, Judge Marvin Cherner, Norman J. Cohen, Larry Stephen Cohn, Sylvia Cooley, Minnie B. Cooper, John Allen Dees, Marilyn Dorsky, Ben F. Ezekiel, Keith Fleischer. Ed Malcolm Friend, Sarah Meyerson Goldman, Fanny Hanover, Shirley Sissy Held, Morris Jaffe, Jack Caden, Itzvan Carrot, Dorothy Cohen, Marcia Cypress Kramer, Abe S. Krawcheck, David Joel Landau, Lee Unger Litcher, Rose Litvin, Abe London, Joseph H. Loveman, Minnie Wheel Loveman, James Michael Luger, Samuel William Lyon, Ella L. Mack, Claire Ziegler Mervis, Paul M. Overall, Philip Pincus, Joan Rittenbaum, Paul Rosenthal, Pearl Rothman, Louise Ruth Shaw, Max Schulman, Milton Turner. Rosalind Laurie Wheel, Estelle Weinberger, William J. Wilson, Ida Tannenbaum Zevolo, and our heartfelt condolences to those who passed away in this Shoshlim, Deborah Blair, Orit Cohen, the niece of Mark Cohen, Lieutenant Mark Meadows, End of Watch, Irondale Police Department, Ken Seaton, and Rabbi Alvin Sugarman. May all their memories forever be a blessing. If it is your custom to rise for our Mortis Kaddish, we invite you to do so, and we turn to page 598. Yigadal v'Gadash Shemei Rabbah, V'yomad Yivrach Gerotei V'amlich Malchutei, V'chayachon of Yom Echon, Uv'chayed Kol Beit Yisrael, B'agalah U'izman Kari V'yimru.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Li'olam Alameo Maya, Yiparach V'hishabach, Hipa'ar, Hitromam, Hitnaseh, V'tadar, V'talev, V'talal, Shemei Dekucha,
Brichu.
La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damin ram v'alma v'yamru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yamru.
Amen.
O say shalom b'mromav, huya say shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yamru. Amen. Before we conclude with our Don Olam and then our Oneg, actually Hamotzi, got to bring you back up. I want to thank Jeff McLennan, our music director, and our incredible choir. And I want to thank Dr. Seelig for coming in and who's been mentoring Candor Whitner for so many years. And my final remarks tonight is that we are all responsible for establishing a formidable and especially an intellectual Judaism post-October 7th. And I can say highly confident that the majority of rabbis out there do not know about Jewish sacred music, our composers, who arranges them, when they arrange, who influence them. So a Judaism has to be spiritual, it has to be joyful, and it also has to be intellectual. So we are grateful for Dr. Seelig for coming in and inspiring us. And we conclude Adon Olam on page 625.
אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעין נשא וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה, אדון עולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא. והוא אחד מעין שני להמשילו להחמירה, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, בלא העוז והמזרע, אדון עולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא. הפקיד רוחי בעת ישן ועיירה, ואם רוחי יביאתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. אדון עולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, אדון עולם, All right, here we go. Our motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Good Shabbos.